Hey guys, I'm Mitch Durfee. Today I want to talk to you guys about getting comfortable being uncomfortable. Now I know a lot of people out there are always worried about what happens on stage and speaking from stage. Well, I got to be the first one to tell you, I was never an expert about getting on stage when I first started. It really took time in order to develop those skills. And a lot of people out there always give up right before they start or right when they're about to finish. So today I want to talk to you guys about getting comfortable being uncomfortable. So one of the first things you guys do, again, when we're talking about getting comfortable being uncomfortable and quitting before you start, it's usually if you have a roadmap, and this is what a lot of speakers will do. If they have a roadmap for the first 10 to 15 seconds, that's when they are most nervous. And think about it, when you come up to an event, you're probably just as skeptical when you get to the event and you see someone on stage, and the question always is, should I listen to them? Why should I listen to them? Like what have they done that gives them credibility to get up here on stage? So if you master the golden intro is what I like to call it, the golden intro where you first show up, talk for a few seconds, and then you can dive right into it. After that, all you're really doing is storytelling. And again, people relate to people that are telling stories. So I want to tell you guys a quick little joke. And you guys probably already know the answer to this, but again, if you guys just play full out, I want to make sure that you guys are learning from every skill that I've been able to develop so that you guys can also bridge that gap from where you are now to where you want to be in the future. All right, so what's one of your biggest fears? A lot of people say spiders, drowning, or speaking in public, right? Whatever it may be, whether it's bugs or spiders or drowning or suffocating or speaking in public, there's only one thing that people actually fear more than death, and that's speaking in public. So more people would rather be the person in the coffin than the person giving the eulogy. Now, if that's you guys, I want to make sure that I give you guys the skills to make sure that if you ever have to speak in public, you guys have the tools to do it. So there's 8 steps, some of the things that I do before I get up on stage. And one of them is when I first show up, when I come out to the audience, I always come from the back of the stage and I step towards them, right? So when I step towards them, it's more inviting, it's more intimate. And at that point in time, again, I'm building a relationship with the people that are in the audience. So that's step 1, walking towards them and coming right to the stage. The second thing I always do is I always pause, right? Take a breath. When you get up on stage and you're a little bit nervous, take a breath, scan the audience, and just pause for a second. Right, so when you take that breath, the first thing you're doing is you're kind of looking through the audience, you're seeing who's there because you want to know who you're speaking to, speaking with, teaching, informing, right? It's not about speaking to them, it's about informing them about giving them information so that they can grow. So when you get out there and the first thing you do is you introduce yourself, but before you do that, you want to scan the room. So after you scan them, generally the third thing you want to do is ask a question. So when you get out there and you scan the room and you run up to the stage and you're out there and it's usually and that question is usually framed in the context of what they're there to learn about. But make sure you're asking a yes question so that way you can get them to engage with you. So one of the questions that, again, if you're getting comfortable being uncomfortable and we're talking about speaking from stage, one of the questions I would ask would be, how many of you, right, right to them, how many of you are scared, nervous, or feel uncomfortable when you're speaking on stage? So, right, so you ask the question and get them to raise their hand. And if they don't engage, again, you got to demand a response. So after number 3 and asking the question, the next thing is you have to demand a response. By demanding a response, you're getting the audience to engage with you. So when the audience is engaging, they're actually listening, right? So imagine if you're having a conversation with someone and they're just standing there and they're looking off in the ceiling and they're just kind of they're listening but not actively listening. When you move your body, you're able to get a lot more response and a lot more action out of that. So when you demand the response, get them to raise their hand, they're actually engaged. And if you do this in the first few minutes, you're going to be able to actually grab their attention, get them to listen to you, and follow through the rest of the stage. So After you get them to demand a response, you want to recognize them, say thank you so much, guys, and again reward them. Right? We're in a day and age where a lot of people aren't really recognized for the things that they're doing every day. We're so busy that it doesn't. Even in your day to day, when you pass someone, a lot of times if you say, "Hey, nice hat," most people will kind of shun it off, like, "Yeah, thanks." So again, you want to make sure that you recognize them for their actions. So after you recognize them, you want to pre-frame them with what's about to come next. So if you're speaking about talking on stage and getting comfortable being uncomfortable, you want to pre-frame them and let them know what's going to be coming. So that way it's not a surprise, right? So after you recognize them and you go through all these other steps, you want to pre-frame them with what they can expect to learn from you in the next few steps. So a lot of it would show up and it would be, how many of you guys ever feel uncomfortable about getting up on stage or nervous about it and it's not something you really enjoy? Come on, guys. How many of you guys are nervous about getting on stage? And then once they engage, right? So thank you so much for that. Now listen, before I started, right? You don't tell them what's going to happen. Before I started getting on stage, it wasn't so long ago that I was also nervous. So I had to go through the same things that you guys are going through. And what I want to talk to you guys about is the 3 steps that I use in order to get comfortable being through this. So one of the things that we talked about when we first showed off in this video was getting that golden intro down, right? So if you have the steps and the processes in place, you're already diving right into what you're going to get, what's going to be coming ahead. So I talked about, today we're going to be talking about how to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And there's a lot of steps that go along with that too. But when you work through that golden intro that I'm talking about here, it's already setting you guys up for that stage and that presence. And then you have no problem diving right into what you can teach them. So after you pre-frame the context, then again, the next thing people are always wondering is, why should they listen, right? If you go to a conference and you're there in the first minute, if I don't tell you why you should be listening to me as an expert in the industry, again, you're going to tune out, you're going to lose interest, there's no reason for you to be there. So when I get up on stage and I make that commanding presence where I come right up and I'm, hey guys, we're here, let's get ready for this, and I get you to engage with me, the next thing I got to do is I really have to make sure that you guys understand why I'm the expert in this industry. Now, personally, I myself, I'm a best-selling author, so I always make sure that I always drop that best-selling author on people because in this world, there's a lot of credibility that goes behind that with being vulnerable, with writing a book, and also hitting that best-selling author stage. For me, that was a milestone in my life that I never thought I'd be able to reach, especially failing my junior year of high school. So when I hit that milestone, it was such a celebration for me that it's literally the first thing I lead off with. Hey guys, I'm Mitch Durfee. I'm a best-selling author, national #1 bestseller, and I'm a coach, a business coach. I help build and develop businesses so that you guys can be more successful. I built 2 businesses that have gone on to do over 7 figures a year. I've franchised a company. I have a digital marketing business, and I'm a business coach, right? So I want to make sure that you guys understand that the credibility and information that I'm going to be teaching you guys over the next couple hours is for you guys and for you alone. Because I already have all those things running. I'm here for you guys, and I want to make sure that you guys get more out of this than you guys came in with. So I want to make sure that you guys understand that the first thing is, the reason you should be listening to me as the expert in this industry on getting comfortable being uncomfortable is because I know what it feels like to start where you guys are likely at right now. So after you hit them with a why, and then dive right into it. After you tell them the reason why, the next thing you got to do is you got to story tell. And I'm not sure if you can read all those things there, but again, so after you hit them with you go through the process, you come in, you scan the room, take a breath, get comfortable, get planted, anchored. You don't want to be moving around a lot. Then you go through those steps, those 8 steps, dive into a story. Now listen, for me personally, getting comfortable being uncomfortable was something that was literally the first step in growing a business. Think about it. How can you operate a business if you're uncomfortable having conversations, those difficult conversations that you have to have? How how well of a business leader would you be if you can't have a difficult conversation with someone, or if you have to make a difficult decision, or you have to hire someone or fire someone? Like, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. How can you get up on stage and make these things without going through and doing it? Now, really, for me, the first step getting uncomfortable and being uncomfortable was literally, I remember reading a book by Tim Ferriss. It's called The 4-Hour Workweek, and he talks about how when he would go out of his way just to do things, strange things, in different public places in order to get that reaction, to get the eyes on him, so that he could get over this fear. Or whether it's asking a boy or a girl for a phone number. A lot of people have a lot of anxiety with that. Or getting up on stage, for example. Now, if you have to get up on stage, how are you ever going to become an expert with getting on stage if you've never done it? And then the second thing I also want to mention is most people, like we talked about before, will quit before they get started, or they'll quit when they're very close to their goal. So, in order for you guys to get comfortable being uncomfortable, there's a lot of different resources out there for you guys. If you're uncomfortable getting on stage, one of the first things you guys can do is something very simple, and it's just doing a Facebook Live. Even if you just turn the camera on, and I encourage you guys to try this out, right? Speaking on stage is no different than speaking in front of your audience. Like, that's literally like national television. There's no longer ABC or NBC or ESPN. It's literally MMD, Mitch, Matthew Durfee, broadcasting. Like, I'm able to become my own news station at any point in time with Facebook Live or Instagram Live or any of these businesses that you're able, like any of these social media channels, you're able to broadcast your message, your mission, your words to millions of people around the world in literally the click of a button. So I highly encourage you guys to start there. For me, I can remember the first time I got up on stage. And I was going through it, in my mind, and I was standing there, and I was in my living room, and I actually ended up getting like these VR goggles so I could practice seeing the audience because I was so uncomfortable. And I read over my script, but the truth is, and again, if you guys are doing this, you're going to find that the more you know the content, the more natural it is. And that's why I encourage you guys to really follow these steps when it comes to acing that intro. Because after the intro, you're just telling a story. And everyone can remember a story, right? Whether it's, I went to the store, and I went down to the store this morning, and I picked up a bottle of water, and when I left the store, I got in my car. And again, more details, but when you're telling a story, you can remember it. So it's not like you're remembering the content, and people relate to stories much better. So if you're looking for 3 easy ways to get comfortable being uncomfortable, I would say the first thing you should do right now is get out there and just do something that you have this little bit of a fear, right? If you're getting ready to get started on it, don't quit. Whatever that fear is, just push the boundary a little bit. Like, if you're right here and you know that on the other side of it, like, don't quit in the middle, keep going towards it. If that means getting up on stage, volunteer to get on stage, or do a Facebook Live. Simply just get out there and do a Facebook Live, and just, even if you just introduce yourself, jump on Facebook and say, hey guys, I'm Mitch Durfee. Right now, this is my first time ever going Facebook Live, but right now what I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm getting comfortable being uncomfortable. It's a good feeling, and I know that when I'm done with this, I'm going to grow. And if you're growing continually, make sure it's working again. If you're growing continually, then every single day you're going to develop new skills, and that this feeling of being uncomfortable is no longer going to be there, and you're going to push the barrier a little bit more, and you're going to grow, and you're going to elevate, and your business is going to grow, and you're going to develop new skills, and then also the people around you are going to become a better leader. So there's no reason for you to be uncomfortable anymore. So do your Facebook Lives. Volunteer for something that maybe you feel uncomfortable. Set up maybe a speech that you have to get out there and give. Like, just push that boundary. And here's the other thing that really drives me. It's an interesting story. There's a dog. He's sitting on a porch, and there's a young grandchild and his grandfather, and he's sitting there, and he goes, and the dog starts to howl, right? And when the dog howls, the grandson looks over at his grandfather and he goes, Grandpa, why is the dog howling? And he looks down at the dog and he goes, because he's sitting on a nail. And the kid goes, well, why doesn't he get up? And the grandpa says, because he's not in enough pain. So usually for a lot of people, in order for them to push their comfort boundaries, what that story really talks about is Like, if you're stuck where you are right now, you feel like you're stuck, and you know that speaking in public may be the next stone that you have to knock over, or the pillar that you have to knock over, then you don't wait for the pain to get so bad that you have to actually take action. Take action before it gets painful. Take action, get off the nail that you're sitting on. Just move forward. So guys, thank you so much. And if you guys are looking to move forward faster, what I want to offer you guys, actually, for anyone that's watched this entire video, is I do coaching. It's $300 an hour right now. Again, it's based on volume, supply, and demand. I only have 3 slots available right now. So what I want to do is I want to extend an offer to you guys. If you guys, I'll put the link down below, but there's only 3 slots available right now. Again, it's for your business. If you have questions about getting comfortable being uncomfortable, then I want you guys to click below and sign up for a free 1-hour phone call. Whether it takes 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or 1 hour, it's free, absolutely free. I'll put the link below, and I'll help you guys get over this barrier with whatever it is in your personal life or your business, just help you get a little more comfortable being uncomfortable. So guys, thank you so much for joining. Obviously, I want you to smash that like button below and continue to subscribe. Every single Monday, I'm going to post one of these videos for you guys. So make sure you guys are following me, and let's keep moving forward to a new you.